All right, welcome, guys. This is what we call the Superstar Q&A. It's your opportunity to ask questions of the 15 stars that are joining this call. So I'll tell you that this comes from, I hold a mastermind call every Monday with the Superstars. And on that call, we make plans, we discuss best practices, what's working, what's not working. We talk about launch strategies. So we talked about lots of things in helping them build their businesses. And really the collaboration amongst leaders is unprecedented at Beachbody. Like, it's really cool. So one of the things we like to do is we added in about a month and a half ago doing weekly calls where they get to invite 5 of their coaches based on that week, whatever we decide. And so this week we had the Superstars invite their diamonds and 1-star diamond coaches, and those that are building the business and want to shoot for bigger goals. So what we're going to do on this call is, it really is a Q&A. You guys get to chime in, ask a question, and then I'll help direct it to a superstar unless one of them wants to jump in and take it. We kind of use it that way, meaning that I'll kind of focus the questions, but there are times where some of them have, a better experience based on the question than others, and we'll let them just kind of chime in as needed. Right now, I think I've got there's probably 15 or 20 superstars on the call. And I gotta say this too, because I think this is pretty cool. If you guys were to look at these screens right now and pick out where the superstars are, I love that you couldn't do it. Like, you don't know which ones they are. And I love that just proves that any one of you can do it. And I love that, anyway, it's just a cool thing for me, because I have to go look for the superstars in the call, and it's always hard to tell, wait, where are they? Because they're just hidden amongst you guys. And it just is proof that if you do the work, you can achieve the goal. All right, we're gonna jump in. Now, if you type questions in the chat on the side, some of the superstars will answer them over there. I'm gonna ask you to be brave and just ask your question on the call live, just to kind of kick this thing off. So we'll go through that awkward silence here as I tell you who's got the first question, and we'll just let it sit there for a minute. But who wants to ask the first question before I make Lindsay Ross do it? Does anyone else have another question?
I think I'm okay.
Ray, is that you? I can hear you a little bit.
Emma Page.
Oh, Emma, go ahead, please.
Okay, so I am a diamond coach who is pushing for 1-star, and I started off pretty strong, pretty fast, and I have a lot of working coaches who they're excited about the opportunity, and I'm big on vision, so I share my vision with them a lot, and I share where I want the team to go together a lot. But how do I take these people who are so excited about hitting emerald and then explain they know what diamond is? I broke it down for them really simple, but how do I get them to actually act on it and go for diamond? Actually.
Awesome. Okay. Let me throw that one. Brittany Legat, why don't you answer that question?
Okay, I'll try. Hi, Emma. So, I think at the end of the day, probably something you already know is they can't want it more, or you can't want it more for them than they want it. So assuming that's not the case, and you're recognizing that they're truly showing up and, willing to do the work to develop. I would say as a leader, something that's really helped me is making sure that I'm really touching base with them with what their struggle points are, and always trying to create ways to make it much simpler than they're making it in their head. So, usually it comes down to small action challenges we can do together just to get them to get moving. And a lot of times once the action's being taken, either there's some clarity with where the struggle is, and they can, you can specifically mentor to that, or they just get out of their own head and they start moving and it kind of works itself out. But I think for sure, the people that are moving to emerald is awesome, but they have to show that they want to keep moving for you to keep pouring into them in that way. So I think just making sure that you really understand that that's truly their goal, and they're not just repeating some goal they read somewhere in some team resource, and that it is important to them. And then just as a leader, I think it's a cool responsibility for you just to guide and support, but you can't do the work for them. So the middle ground that I've found with that is just like talking to them, obviously, and figuring out where they're at, if they have any obvious struggle points, and then creating just really small, actionable things that you guys can do as a team, that kind of like gets people going. I don't know if that helps, but small little challenges really kind of helped my team, especially early on, just kind of get used to those business earning activities.
Yes, it did help. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Who's got the next question?
I'll ask a question.
Perfect.
So I'm Curdy. I'm a diamond coach. I am kind of getting to the point where I have signed up so many people that I'm like feeling, I have a lot of challengers and kind of a lot of people in my groups. I was curious what everybody's way of like checking in with those people. Like if you do like a weekly check-in no matter what with all your people, or do you only kind of like engage with the people that are in the group, and then just go back and randomly check back in with people that have kind of fallen off, or like what everybody's system is to like make sure that you are helping people get results, but also like not losing people and then still being able to do all the other things.
Great. So, hey, Ruth, why don't we have you answer that one?
Doug, man, you always call on me when I'm like, oh, I'm interested to see what everyone said.
Well, after you, we'll ask somebody else too. How about that?
Okay. So I have a system set up with, I use Streak for these check-ins for my challengers and for my coaches, where every week I have an email that goes out to my coaches and my challengers to check in on them one-on-one through email. So that's how I do that in regards to touching base with the number of people that I'm bringing into this. And I usually do that for about 4 to 6 weeks. And then after that, it's kind of on a case-by-case basis, depending on if people are responding, things like that. But to be honest with you, even when I do that, half the people don't respond on email. So I think sometimes those concerns aren't actual concerns, because you're going to have some people who really want your attention and are really responsive, and some people who are super independent and don't need that one-on-one interaction, and the group activity they're getting in your online boot camps or from your team page is going to be enough for them. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, for sure. Does someone else want to add on to that? Another superstar?
Well, I'll just add that for the people in my challenge group, I use my challenge tracker app, and you can email everyone in the group all at once. So I do a weekly check-in with everyone, just one big like check-in with them. And then also, hold on, this might be the mic one. I don't know. Sorry. I also have Streak, just like Ruth said, but I do weekly newsletters. And so all my customers go on my weekly newsletter list. And then I know like forever and always I'm touching them. Every week I'm providing them free value. Every week, well, I don't invite to, tell them about a challenge group going on every week, but within those newsletters throughout the month, I let them know, hey, I have a group coming up. If you want in, click here. So they always know when my new groups are. They're always getting free value from me. And I just find that much easier to stay in contact with them using like a newsletter system for those. And they know about any new release. So it's really been good because they just reply to the email when they want in a group. So that's worked for me.
Awesome. Thanks, Holly. Danielle, why don't you share what you do on your weekly challenger call?
Sure. So it's just skill transfer, right? What we do with our coaches, we often forget that we can do with our customers. So we have a standard weekly team call, but for our challenge group. And I do that through Zoom. I have the same link that in the same time. So it stands as a standing appointment. Sometimes we just do open Q&A. Sometimes I'll bring a topic. Sometimes Darren will come on and do it. This past Tuesday, one of our challengers was recovering from COVID, so she shared her story with us. So it's just, think about all the things that you do in general with your coaches. You do personal development or a book club. do that with your challengers. You do weekly calls, do that with your challengers. I do recognition. So Thursdays, we celebrate recognition in our team page. Well, I also have them celebrate a non-scale victory or a scale victory in our challenge group. And I do coach of the month. So I started doing challenger of the month. So sometimes I think we just need to think about our customers in the same mind frame of what we do with our coaches. And we're also prepping them, right? Our customers become our best coaches. So kind of thinking along those lines of like, what am I doing with my coaches that's really working? And how can I transfer that skill over to my customers?
Danielle,
Nighttime is best because most challengers, obviously right now it's a little different. But we do Tuesday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time because most challengers, right, are not coaches and they are still working full-time jobs. So a nighttime call is what's best, at least for my group.
Awesome, thanks. Hey, Jamie Shepard, is yours any different or similar?
It's mostly similar. I'm on the same wavelength as Danielle for sure. Like we do a movers and shakers post once a week where we're taking from my challenge tracker all the logs, shakes, and workouts and do a recognition board that way. On our boot camp call, we do it team wide though. So even though we're all running different challenge groups, the leader, we get everyone on the same call because we're all talking through the same systems. And then each leader will take turns kind of leading and having a nugget of value. We'll offer some troubleshooting time, recognition, and then it kind of takes the load off a little bit as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Jamie. Next question.
I do have a question.
Please.
Hi. Yes. When you are teaching your new coaches how to manage objections, particularly the money objection, what type of options do you teach them so they can manage it properly? Because of course, once you start growing your confidence, you know how to, answer those. But for the new coaches particularly, sometimes they need to have like a certain type of answers to what the different situations they are, experiencing. So I don't know what recommendations you guys give them so they can start managing that successfully.
Awesome. Hey, let's have Jess Dukes. How would you answer that one?
I knew you were going to call on me for that one because I don't know the answer. So first off, I always think that price objections are not understanding the value of what we provide, not necessarily always that they can't actually afford it. Some of the price objections right now might truly be that. But I truly like to just make sure I'm sharing the value. And I honestly don't get a lot of price objections because I feel like I'm sharing my results. I'm sharing in my stories every day what I'm doing. I share the workouts. I share all of this and I really live it out. That when I get those price objections, I don't get them very often. So I really think it sometimes is sharing the value of what we provide. And also the value of what we provide isn't always just our workouts and our shakes, but also what are you going to provide the customer in your boot camps, the type of support, the community, and sharing that aspect as well. But I'm a firm believer that I don't want to have to convince people to have to do this with me. So I am not going to be one that is like trying to figure out their budget for them or anything like that. I know other coaches might feel differently, so I'm curious if any other superstars have a different answer, but I'm a firm believer that I want to share the value, get incredible results, so they're not questioning the value of what they're getting. And I don't want to have to convince anyone to have to get this, to do this with me or try to figure out their budget for them.
Yeah. And the same thing happened for me because, of course, once you get the confidence of, doing the business and getting your results, that's usually something that you don't get often. But my question was particularly for the new coaches that are starting, that you have some of them that start right there when they're starting the transformation. So they are in the process of getting the results and they start, of course, because they haven't built the confidence in themselves and in the system and they're learning. What type of recommendations would you give them particularly so they can manage that particularly objection?
Holly, why don't you talk them through Phil Felt Found?
Yeah, so I think a lot of coaches come in and say, like, I want a script, right? Everyone wants a script. That's what every new coach wants. And scripts only kind of work because scripts need to be really personal to you. And so I do encourage my coaches to use feel, felt, found. So I know how you feel. I felt the same way. Here's what I found. So I totally know how you feel. I was the person who said no to Shakeology 3 times. I thought it was an overpriced like protein shake. And then I decided I was going to go all in on a program and do the meal plan 100%. And I found that it reduced my sugar cravings. But it needs to be them, right? I can write my own script. You can write your own script. They need to use how these products have helped them, even if they just started within a week. Or why did they even buy a challenge pack, right? I don't care if they spent the money, then they, for some reason, believe in the product enough to spend the money. So I tell my coaches to use feel, felt, found. I know how you feel. I felt the same way, XYZ. This is what I found. And they can just write like their own little scripts. And then when they have those, sure, go ahead and use those scripts. And then they're not thinking through it so much. Write your own scripts though, I think is big. And that like feel, felt, found just gives them a little guidance in how to kind of start that conversation until they do have that big boost of confidence where they just talk about it all the time, no matter what.
Awesome. Thanks, Holly. Hey, we've got a question that was typed in. Ray asks, what are the best practices for converting long-term customers to coaches? Why don't I bring that up with Amber Kuiper? How would you answer that?
Yeah. I feel like for me, in terms of customers that have been customers forever, it's just continuing to pour that belief into them that you still think they would be an amazing coach and having them on your radar. So I have a list of customers for me that have been with me for a while, but just continuing to pour that belief in and planting those seeds. And some of them come around, some of them don't, but I always want them to know that the door is open. So if anything changes, if your situation changes, let me know, because I know that you would be an incredible coach. It'd be so fun to work this business with you. So for me, it's just, but sometimes it takes years for people, right? You just never know when the timing's right for them. All you can do is continue to plant those seeds.
Awesome. Thanks, Amber. Next question.
All right, I'll go.
Okay.
Why not?
Oh,
what's up, Doug? Honored to be on this call. Thank you guys for giving your time and energy. I would like to know how much personal development you do per day, because we all know it just takes work. So I want to know about the work you do on you.
Can I take this, Doug?
Jimmy.
This is my
Jimmy.
Yeah. So I just want to jump in because personal development is my world, because I was like it was the last thing I ever wanted to do with the vital behaviors. I thought it was bullshit. Sorry, children. It was like, I didn't think it was that big a deal. And it wasn't until I embraced it that it changed my life. And so one of the things, my mottos that I talk about constantly with my team, with my challengers on my Instagram stories, is I tell people, my 100-pound weight loss was not the biggest battle of my life. It's the battle with my brain every day. And I have to attack my mind before my mind attacks me daily. End of story, period. Attack your mind before your mind attacks you, especially right now. Because some of us, life hasn't changed that much if we were already working at home. But just what's going on can kind of mess with you a little bit. And so I'm like, double down. And so literally I talk about how when I wake up first thing in the morning, you always tell people don't grab your phone, but I do, and I go to YouTube and just put in motivational video. And I'm not watching it. It's just something that starts talking to me. So I'm listening to I just pulled out this thing changed my life. I listened to this on repeat over and over because I had to change the programming here. Because there was a really, it was a real victim mentality. And I still can fall into that of, oh, woe is me. That's why they're more successful. Here's my excuse. And so literally every morning I pop up, put on YouTube, because I found in the morning when I'm trying to figure out how early it is, what my name is, going to the bathroom, getting ready for my energize and my workout, there was like 20 to 30 to 40 hidden ins there. And personal development doesn't always have to be, I'm sitting in front of something taking notes. It's just something talking into that subconscious over and over and over again. until you get to the point where you don't remember if somebody told you this stuff or if you wrote it yourself. And it was funny because I popped this thing in. I have it on Audible now. And I hadn't listened to it in years. And the minute it popped on, I started finishing Jim Rohn's sentences for him. And I was like, this is what changed for me. Because what I love about YouTube or anything else now is we can go to training, but nobody sits down to master some basics and listens to the same thing. And I think I said this on one of these a few weeks ago, that if you ever used to watch Blue's Clues, they would play the same episode 5 days in a row so the kids like repeated. So I would find one of those videos on YouTube that really speak to your soul, whether it's Jim Rohn or Les Brown or Mel Robbins or Gary Vaynerchuk or Tony Robbins or whoever, and listen to the same one for 5 straight days, because you're going to hear something a little bit different every day. But I just think it's more important now than ever for you, your team, because if our brains aren't right, nothing else follows along.
Love it, love it. Thank you, Jimmy. There's a lot of comments on this one. Voris, why don't you add to this? Julie.
I was literally just typing in the chat thread too. Also, I'm just going to apologize right now. You're likely going to hear a voice lesson in the basement and my husband on a Zoom call with his players upstairs who somehow manages to talk like he's on the football field when we're all in this very small house. We're all right here. So you're probably going to hear 2 things. But I think, Lindsay, who asked the question, when you are doing personal development, I really have gotten to the point where I'm not just listening, watching, reading for me. It is, how am I also going to teach this? Because I don't think anything we do is supposed to reside with us. Your fitness, your squat, your lunge, your push-up comes right out of your workout room into the rest of your life. Your nutrition, your shakeout comes right out of wherever you are into the rest of your life. So should your personal development. So as I'm reading and taking in whatever I'm taking in at that time, I'm also taking notes thinking, how am I going to share this with my team? Because we're viewing it with a different eye than they are. We've got a helicopter view. We've got a long time view. We know what the vision of the team is. So you're taking that in with that vision, with that helicopter view, and coming back and sharing it with your team. That's also telling them how important personal development is. I guarantee you that when coaches are on a plateau, the first question I ask them is, what's your personal development? And they stutter and stammer and they don't know what it is. Or they're reading the same book that they read 15 times before. I'm like, what? I don't even know what's happening right now. So I also think that personal development shows in the consistency journey, like we're consistent with our fitness, we're consistent with our nutrition, when we're consistent with our personal development. The thing is, everyone that's looking for a coach, they already know how to do every so often. They don't know how to do consistent, which is why they're looking for a coach. So when you're showing them that you're not just consistent, well, anyone can work out. Anyone can maybe put grapes in a container, but can you train your mind? That's the most important part. The people that are coming to you are struggling with that. They've already got kind of, sort of down. They're looking for consistent. So when you're showing that even on your social, that you're getting that personal development in, you're showing them that you're showing up for you. And the cool part is, as a side note, is now my children do personal development and I've never told them to do that. They just do. So it's a really cool ripple effect too.
Awesome. Thank you, Julie. All right. Next question.
I have a question.
Please.
Hey, hope you guys are all okay. Thank you for inviting me to this call. So as far as routine goes, my daily routines, when I first started coaching, I was literally all over the place. Didn't know where to start. Didn't know how to establish like a daily routine to do my follow-ups and invites and posts and everything. Do you have any tips on ongoing routines that I can adapt? Because sometimes I start out the week just fine, and then halfway through the week, I'm just like all over the place again.
I can add something if you want,
please,
Doug,
Brittany.
just because I just did this on a call. So, I mean, I think different seasons of life, require different organization from you, and I feel like I've worked this business while working full time, no kids, and then pregnant, and then kids, and, whatever. So I think you have to be flexible and a lot of trial and error. But what really has worked for me in the busiest times is time blocking. And so let me screen share if that's okay, Doug, just because I literally have it on my desktop from a team call. So time blocking for me is just exactly the thing where you focus on one task and you get it done until you move on to the next thing. So like for me, this is my typical day. It's like the morning time before the house wakes up is just like me time, personal development, workout, whatever. I unplug, you know, to be with my family for a couple hours. And then I've got very structured, like, what am I doing for the next 30 minutes? It's just inbox. It's not inbox and answering, you know, coach email and, you know, and team page, you know, post. It's just inbox. So I think like figuring out like what your business activities are that just need to get prioritized, and just give, if at all possible, giving yourself specific times. And I know for some personalities, this like makes you want to puke because it's too like stringent, I guess. But for me, it's given me so much freedom in like knowing, okay, I just get this inbox done and then I'm done. And then I move on, or I get this invite section done and then I'm done. And I can move on to like maybe the more fun stuff that I really enjoy. So I don't know if that helps, but for me, time blocking has been huge. I mean, a few other little things that I think are really important is like on Sundays, looking at the week ahead and like figuring out what's going on in your personal life and your business life. And then every night before you go to bed, looking at the next day and saying, okay, like what's the day holding for me? Like, do I need to wake up 30 minutes earlier than usual just to like give myself some peace of mind? I don't know. I mean, obviously that's in a perfect world and none of us are perfect, but I think for me, time blocking has given me the most freedom and the least amount of stress, and still like being able to be productive and have some downtime too.
Awesome. Thank you. That helped out a lot. Appreciate it.
Love it. Thanks, Brittany. Raina, I want to ask you that question. How do you schedule your day?
I was just thinking as Brittany was talking, I just started in January doing literally the exact same thing. I have a paper calendar that I keep on my desk, and it has everything from the time I wake up to when I work out, to my pre-workout, to my asana, to my streak, to everything. And I know that every day when I sit down to work, I look at that and I can brain dump if I need to brain dump. And, you know, I used to be the person that would like sit down and do emails, and then I'd get a text and I'd be like, oh shit, I have to go post there. And I forgot about that. And then I'd just be all over the place, and then the day would be done and I wouldn't get anything accomplished. And so that schedule and creating that has been a game changer for me. And I just started it in January, but I've also been doing one-on-one calls with my coaches and kind of teaching them the same thing. And it's changes their business completely and totally changes their business. So get on a schedule. And it's like, you know, I could easily look at my schedule and be like, nah, fuck that. I don't want to do any of that today and not do it. But it's like, do you want a successful business, or do you just want to have an okay business? In my opinion.
Awesome.
Definitely. Thank you. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Hey, I want to ask you a question because I know Holly Hilliard is going to jump off. Holly, why, you know, these are diamonds and 1-stars. I just want to bring this back to why should they be working to get to 2-star? And I think you're really good at answering that.
Yeah. So this is like one of my favorite things because I think it's something, I know it's something I didn't understand in the beginning. And so as I am helping my coaches, it starts with just really even helping your coaches grow to diamond. So when I'm talking to my coaches about hitting diamond, the first thing is like, diamond's never the end goal. And diamond is like actually not that big of a deal. It is, and we're going to celebrate it. But when you hit diamond, most coaches aren't making that much money as a diamond coach, right? Most diamond coaches, you've got your discount coaches beneath you and maybe, you know, 1 business builder, maybe 2, but most of my diamonds don't even have 2 business builders at that point. And so one, as my coaches, I'm joining them, I'm telling them diamond is a stepping stone on the path to real income. Real income happens at 2-star. And it happens at 2-star because this is when not only do we have 2 coaches building volume, which now really unlocking team cycle bonuses. Sure, I mean, we start getting them as emerald coaches, right? But you guys know we're getting $14, $18 bonuses. As you have coaches building depth, those team cycle bonuses start really adding up and becoming true income. But you've got to have volume on both sides. So you need those 2 coaches on those 2 sides. And then it's that second business center. The second business center is a game changer. And guys, again, I made so many mistakes in the beginning. None of this was explained to me. And I will say, you guys are all on top teams. So as you get to that point of you hit 2-star, you do your 6-week hold, your official, 2-star coach, you open that second business center, sit down with your coach and talk to them about placement, proper placement of that second business center. Because with proper placement of that second business center, which I didn't understand, that is going to allow you, one, a second business center. I mean, that's you, right? That's you. Look at your downline, your sponsorship drill down, and there's your name again. So all of a sudden, we all wish we had coaches who would work as hard as we do. Now you do. So you have you down there in your downline building the volume you wish all your coaches would build. So now you've got that amazing coach building volume. And that's not only helping you team bonus cycle. If that second business center, when you place it appropriately, there is normally, again, depends how your business is set up. But for me, my husband and I work this business and I placed it on his inside leg. Again, this isn't super important, but what is important to know is my husband and I, he has a strong leg. I've got a second business center on his weak leg. Now I've got this rock star coach down here, right? Like underneath him. So I have a rock star coach in my downline. He has a rock star coach in his downline. I'm team cycle bonusing more. He's team cycle bonusing more. And me, normal Holly up here, is now getting matching bonuses off of his team bonus cycles. And on top of that, this coach down here, when I'm putting all my customers in that second business center, I am making more money off of that. So literally, you selling a bag of Shakeology through a second business center, you're getting that commission, and then you're getting bonuses off of it. It's where everything unlocks. And again, this doesn't need to be like a huge training on the comp plan, but placing, I think the big thing to know is 2-star unlocks huge potential in income. And talk to your coach when you open that second business center so you place appropriately, because all of our businesses look different. But it is a game changer in terms of income, a game changer. And it also, guys, every time you rank advance, it's a game changer in the momentum of your business. That's why you want to hit diamond. I mean, you guys all know you're diamond 1-star coaches, but you hit that 2-star. So even if you're you're diamond, now you hit 1-star, now you hit 2-star, everyone's seeing that growth. You hit 2-star, open that second business center, that's another coach who can get to emerald. All of a sudden, you go from being 2-star to 3-star like that. You don't even need to recruit anyone else because you have a second business center. That momentum build just continues to build and build and build. And even more, I mean, really in the beginning of your business, to me, more important than that, like initial income and all that, it's the momentum you're building. Because the more business building coaches that you sign up, right? That's the whole point of this. Build the momentum, sign your business building coaches, train them, help them see results, and then the income comes. But there's just 2-star unlocks it all. It is the momentum builder, it is the income builder, it unlocks it all. It's huge, huge.
Awesome. Thanks, Holly. I knew you said you had to jump, so I wanted to grab you before that. All right, next question.
I have a question. I apologize if I get interrupted. I have 6 children at home that are under age 10, so if I mute and run away, just move on to someone else. But I wanted to specifically ask, I'm a diamond coach. I was in 1-star qualifications for just a little bit under my husband's account. I've been a diamond coach for over 2 years. I haven't been stagnant. I feel like I've been learning and building and growing. My team's been growing. But I would love to hear if there is a superstar diamond coach in here who was maybe at that rank for a longer period of time. Was there something that unlocked for you? I feel like I am now getting coaches who are, I won't say they're business builders, but they're trying to work. and I'm getting systems in place for them to learn the business. But I feel like, was there something that just sort of like unlocked at some point that boosted your business ahead if you were stuck at Diamond maybe for a long time? Because I feel like I hear a lot of stories of superstar diamonds that escalated their business really quickly. And so I'm trying to stay out of that mentality of like, you've missed the boat and you're like, you're just not going to make it over the hurdle.
Doug, can I share a story?
Yeah, please.
So I'm not going to say that I've never like hit a plateau, but I didn't have that stuck period. However, a coach in my downline did. So I don't know if you know Emily Fowler, but Emily Fowler was a lifetime, diamond coach for like 5 years on our team. She had hit Success Club sporadically, just she showed up to the things, but just was stuck at that same rank. And then she went all in on 80-Day Obsession. And when I say all in, I mean like it was her job, because it was. So she did every container to a T, every workout to a T, and she shared the thing 100% of the way. She went to Disney and she still showed how she was using containers and doing the workouts. That program, she got phenomenal results, and that program changed her business. And what happened is every person that joined her did 80-Day Obsession to a T, like it was their job. And that truly was the moment that took her from like, I think 1 star to 15 star in the quickest amount of time it has ever been done. And actually her team right now is going back to doing 80-Day Obsession because they feel like those 80 days of super strict following the program and the nutrition to a T, that transferred over into her business. And what I find oftentimes is when people get on a plateau in their business, if they connect back to a workout program and a nutrition program, like it's your job, like you don't miss a component. There's not a cheat day. There's not an, oh, I didn't do this. Like there's no wiggle room. It's literally like you are being graded for how you participate in it. Oftentimes that's when people see a big rise in momentum again. So, I would encourage you to, and I'm not saying you're not, because, you look phenomenal. You have like 6 kids under 10 at home. So clearly you're doing something right in the fitness world, but I think it's also more about just really dialing in and showing that our systems work exactly the way they were designed. And I've noticed that has oftentimes the people in our team who catapult, it's always directly correlated with a program.
Hey, Doug, can I pack onto the end of that just for a second?
Yeah, for sure.
I 1,000% agree with anything Danielle said. Chris Reed used to always talk about, hey, if you're stuck with your business, go commit 1,000,000% to a program and things will change for you. And I completely agree with that. The other thing I would add to that, for me, I have hit many a plateau in this business, and I always joke that whatever is on my resume, usually I was probably the person that took the longest to get there, including Superstar. But for me, it had to get really clear on how does my life change at that rank? Not, hey, it's nice because I want the next thing and I want the recognition and I love some recognition. But for me, it wasn't until, and I think I shared this one of the previous weeks, was once I got really clear on, at 2-star, the bonus is this much and I need this many people to get there for 6 weeks. Like I had to get really, really clear. And it's like if you're going to sprint on a track, I needed to be able to see the finish line and just go, cool. If I just bust my hump and sprint to there, I get this. And at the time, the 2-star bonus was something like $900, which might as well have been $9 million to me because I needed that money. Like that was going to change my life on the other side of that because I knew the stress financially we were in. And so, Tony Robbins talks about it isn't until wants become musts that anything happens. And so if it's just like, hey, I just would like to be 5-star or I'd like to be 2-star because it seems cool, you're not going to get there. Like, why do you have to do it? Like, what changes? I asked my challenge, like somebody's asking about price objections with customers. When somebody tells me they want to lose 20 pounds, I usually stop. What can you do 20 pounds from now that you can't do now? What can you do on the other side of 2-star? How does your life look different? And it wasn't until I got super clear on that and knew exactly what changed in my business. I understood, what Holly was just talking about with a second CBC. I didn't really understand the concept. I knew the words, but I hadn't done the homework to get super crystal clear on what changes. And once I realized, my life looks this way 8 people from now, 10 people from now, whatever it happened to be. For me, it was helping my wife build her business center to Diamond in 1 week after I got super clear on that, because I was going to have so many conversations with people to not to push on them, but to find the people that were looking for me, to find the right people. And the more I was around these successful people, I just realized they're not any better than me. They're just willing to have more conversations. They're willing to hear no more frequently than I am so far. And that changed once I got really clear on how my life was going to look different on the other side of 2-star.
Can I add to that too?
Yeah, please, Jane.
Okay. So yes to everything that's been said. And now that you've got this clarity, and that I love that once versus must, it's like now you do it again, right? You've already got to Diamond. I saw you say in the chat, Jessica, that you've hit Success Club almost every month. You're really consistent with your programs. So go Diamond again, right? Whether you have a like if you've been sitting at Diamond for a long time, like if you have a spouse or account you can control, give yourself a timeline, give yourself some structure, focus, and build that. Or if you don't have an account you control, go Diamond again in terms of just in your own first business center so that you can partner with your team and go, okay, I'm going Diamond again. Here's my Diamond roadmap. Here's my vision. This is what I'm doing. Who wants to partner with me? Let's get in the trenches, cast a vision for your team, link arms, and then get to work. Like, you know how to do it. You've already done it. So go do it again, but then bring your team with you.
Awesome. Hey, Christine, why don't we have you add to that? I like what you typed about you weren't really trying for 15.
Yeah, when I was starting, I mean, this was almost 12 years ago, so I'm wicked old in this. But basically, when I was doing this, I knew nothing about network marketing. I didn't understand income level. I didn't really even think that was a thing, really, to make such a lot of money. As well as rank and titles and stuff didn't mean anything to me because it didn't make sense to me. So I didn't know anything about it. So realistically, when I started, I was very busy. I was pregnant, 5 months pregnant with my daughter. I had a 1.5-year-old son. I had 3 part-time fitness jobs, and I had a full-time job. And what I really focused on in the beginning was trying to figure this out and get everybody doing the same thing that they were excited about. And when we started to have people move to Emerald, they got more excited and pumped to do, back then we did home parties, Turbo Jam Challenge, 10 Down Slim Day challenges. And then they wanted to move up to Diamond. So the more people that I was tracking on my Excel list that I was really working with personally to get to Diamond, that inevitably moved me up too. So of course I was still doing the activity, but I wasn't focusing on let me get to 5-star, let me get to 10-star, because it was never about me. It's always about how can I help them? I need to help them so that they stay more excited and they get more engaged and they start talking to more and more and more people, because that inevitably would happen.
Awesome. Thanks, Christine.
Can I just add?
Please.
Hold on. Just one little thing that just helped me, because I'm very income driven and money driven. And so if you are that person, one thing that you told me, Doug, constantly is, you know, pushing for 10-star, pushing for 2-star, 5-star, any rank. It's like, how many diamonds do you need? If you're pushing for 2-star and you need 2 diamonds underneath you. Doug, you always said, hey, I'll give you whatever the bonus is, $900. Like, hey, what if I told you I'd give you $900 to build 2 diamonds? And I'm just like, holy shit, $900 to build 2 diamonds underneath me? Easy. Same for, like, you know, when we push back for 15-star, 10-star, whatever. It's like, how many diamonds do you need? You need 1 more person? Okay, I'll give you X amount to pop that 1 more diamond. Does that make sense at all? I might not be wording that like you worded that, Doug.
Yeah, no, it's but when you were like an 8-star, we would talk about, you know, hey, those 2 diamonds, the next 2 diamonds get you the 10-star bonus, which at the time and even now is around 15,000. So it's like, yeah, would you build 2 diamonds for the $15,000 bonus? And Raina would
like
be
just
like,
that. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm racing for that. Yeah, $15,000 for 2 people. Yeah, okay, bye. You know what I mean? Like just that mentality helped me a ton.
Awesome. Thank you, Raina. Hey, there's been questions in here on getting your coaches started. And you know, that's a big question. You know, what do your new coach mentorships look like? Why don't we throw Jamie Innes? Why don't you answer that one?
So I think the biggest thing with this is that every 3 months, what was working for me 3 months ago is not working. So for me, I'm changing them up very consistently. I kind of like that because it's like I have to be growing anyway as a leader, that it's just, it keeps it fresh. But right now what's working for me is doing my mentorships in a Facebook group. They're 3 weeks long, and I am co-hosting them with either my brand new diamond or my girls that are closest to diamond. So basically, like, their coaches are coming in, I'm coming in, and basically we have assignments Monday through Friday. And we kind of take turns doing that. So we'll do live trainings together. So also my newer diamonds, or ones that are almost there, are getting put in a leadership role right away. So it's kind of like, okay, I'm putting my new coaches in front of you guys. Obviously, they're, like I said, they're the ones that are probably your new success starters. They're ones that have been doing things from day one. Like, you had mentored them, they're being coachable, they're being teachable. So when we have, the first week we talk about success starter, I have one of my new girls go over that, because for me, success starter was not a thing when I signed up. I would have been all over that. But for them to be able to say, like, yes, I am a success starter, and I just listened to Jamie and I just did the things and I put my head down and this is how I did it. It's more relatable than for me to just tell them, like, this is what you do. So for me, I love that extra experience, but it also helps my, it's kind of like a double whammy, because it helps my diamonds not lose their rank. Like, I want them to, see that diamond is where we start this business. And I want them, again, like what Holly said, like, to see 2-star moving forward. So I want them to get like as solid as possible right away, instead of hitting diamond or success starter and they're like, oh my gosh, I did it. And then they take their foot off the gas and they just stop. And it's like, that's not what I said. But I think the biggest thing is just pouring into them one-on-one. Every single month since I've signed up in the very beginning, my coaches signed up with me because they like me. They usually end up loving me. They just want my time. And so anything that you can pour into your team, no matter what it is, no matter what kind of training it is, it doesn't matter if you have a huge Instagram following or you're horrible at Instagram, just a video of you sharing what works for you with stories, what works for you in, this business, they're going to listen. And the biggest thing that I've changed in the past quarter has just been, the coaches that see the vision are actually decent at social media, more as they're more confident with sharing just their day. I'm not even talking about coaching or fitness. I'm talking about they're just sharing their day. So then people find them more relatable because they're connecting with them on kids, on their job, on school, if they're athletes. It's just they're connecting with their people because they share that all day long. So for me, I have been fine tuning that more so Instagram. Most of the people are on Instagram, social media driven, because if I can help teach them to get confident in sharing their story and just being them, I always get so sad when I hear, I've heard a couple questions here on these calls and people ask, how do you share your journey authentically? And it's just like, well, why would you want to be anything other than that? You want someone when they meet you for the first time to say, wow, you're exactly as weird as you are in stories. It's like, well, I would hope so. I don't want to be anyone else. So I think seeing that, which obviously for a lot of us, it's easier said than done because we're like, well, duh. But that has been the biggest deterrent for my coaches, actually seeing success and, building a team right away, or kind of falling out, is they're comfortable with just sharing their life and being themselves on social media.
Awesome. Thanks, Jamie. All right.
Hi, will I be able to ask a quick question? Alicia here. Don't know if
Sure.
What are some ways that, you guys identify those rock star coaches? Because we want to grow our team. And I'm not saying that every person, who comes onto your team will be a rock star, but just what are you looking for when you are searching, if that makes sense?
Yeah. Ali Testatori, how would you answer that?
Well, I will say my best coaches were my challengers. All of my top leaders were challengers to begin with. So it was easy for me to spot them because they were the most active challengers in my group. So it was just about reaching out to them, which I wanted to chime in and say a way that I did that, because actually 2 of my girls on here right now, they're 2 girls that did my little challenge I did to convert them to coaches. So one way I did that really quick, and then I'll go back into it, is I have all of my challengers in a Facebook message pod on just Facebook, and I do email them as well. But occasionally what I'll do is on Sundays, when I know that people are meal prepping, or if it's Tuesday, Transformation Tuesday, I will just pop into my group with all of my clients and I'll say, hey, is anyone up for a challenge? Super simple. It's not scary. And I normally we'll have like 4 or 5 who will respond. 2 of them are on here now, and they respond. They're like, yeah, what's the challenge? I'm in for it. I'm like, I want you to share your meal prep picture on your Facebook page today, or your Instagram, or share your transformation. They'll go share it, and then I'll go monitor their social media, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they have all these likes, they have these comments, and then I'll message them, and I'll be like, girl, do you see how many people are commenting on your post? Do you see how many people are engaging? And they're like, yeah, what do I do? I'm like, this is what you're going to send to all of them. And I will write out the script for them. And I will say, this is what you're going to say. You're going to send it to them. And they're like, okay, I'll do it. And they listen because they showed initiative when I first asked them to do that as a client. And I'm spoon feeding them, but it right away instantly shows me who my runners might be as coaches. And they obviously are all on this call because they're Diamond and Star Diamond, and they were clients. So that's where I've recruited my top coaches, is from my challenge group, and just initiating little challenges like that to see who's willing to take the leap and do what I ask them to do. And then as for my other, I would say my 3 other top coaches who, you know, have been elite and premier, they're coaches that I found on Instagram, and they were people that I connected with for over a year. They were healthcare and fitness professionals just like my market, and we built a relationship. We talked for a very long time, and I knew that they would be great because they were literally doing what we were doing as coaches. They were sharing their fitness. They were obsessed with fitness, and I am too. They shared results, their own transformation before Beachbody, and that made them lifers because they were already lifers to health and fitness. And I have a very strong niche when it comes to fitness and nutrition and healthcare. So that's usually the people I target because they already do that before Beachbody. So hope that helps.
Awesome. Well, you're getting a question. What was the initial post that got them to respond? Something about, are you wanting to do a challenge or something?
Okay, so with my clients, this is how I convert a lot of my clients to coaches, is I'll just post in a message thread, because I have all of my clients in one message thread on Facebook. And I'll just say, usually on a day that's very targeted, like Transformation Tuesday, or if you're meal prepping on Sunday, or maybe it's a Throwback Thursday, you could always theme it out. And I'll just put in the message thread. I'll be like, hey, are any of you up for a challenge? And I don't tell them what the challenge is. And for me, it's usually my most active challengers will respond. And I know like Paige is on here. She's one of my girls. And I told her, I was like, just share your meal prep picture. And she's like, okay. She's like, just share the picture. I'm like, yeah, just share your meal prep picture that you show in our challenge group. Just put it on Facebook and see what happens. And that's all I said. So you can pick a different challenge, because I feel like the biggest, I think, and Jamie was saying this about social media, is it's hard to find a really exceptional coach if they're not willing to post on social media. It's very difficult. And if I can find a client that is willing to put themselves out there before they're even a coach, to share their meal prep, to share a transformation, any of that, I know they'd be an exceptional coach if I can help groom them and help mentor them. So that's why I always say, work with who you have. You know, you all have clients. You're all earning successful 5-year diamond. You have a pool of people that you can work with right now, and you can help groom them, your clients. And then obviously you want to be inviting to coaching as well. And you can look for those people that are like you, so you can really connect with them. But that always gets me people to become coaches, is doing little things like that, just that encourage them to take that leap to post on social media.
Awesome. Love it. All right, guys, we're starting to run out of time. Last question. Please.
Can I finish it up? Awesome. Thank you, Doug. Thank you guys so much for your time today. Okay, so I am a 1-star coach, and I'm in a space where I have like 10 business builders. Like my goal is to hit 10-star in the next, 6 months. 5-star, 2-star is the first goal. 5-star obviously is soon to follow. But really what my focus and the thing I'm struggling with right now is I'm really having to shift into this like strong leadership role, which like I'm doing all the leadership, personal development, and I'm really proud of how I'm showing up for my team as a leader. And I really feel like I'm developing and building those business builders and those leaders, which is like the key to what I want to do. But I'm finding that I'm struggling a little bit with finding the balance of leading a team, showing up as the leader I want to be, but then also still every day doing, you know, the vitals that I want to get in, you know, beyond just the behind the scenes of running a team. And, you know, obviously I'm posting every day, I'm doing all of those things, but I just feel like my SC numbers have really dropped. Like I was hitting in the 20s, and now I'm like, I am struggling to hit like SC 10, and that's like my minimum, but I'm still having lots of conversations and invites and stuff. But I just feel like because now I'm spending so much time with my team, which obviously like there's gonna, I guess what I'm asking is, did you guys have this same, you know, struggle as you kind of shifted to becoming a leader of a team? And do you have any tips or advice for me?
Danielle, why don't you start and I'll go look.
Okay, so Doug does an incredible visual of this because we all go through this at some point, and we all have a very misconceived notion of where our time should be allocated as we move up in the ranks. And so I'm going to screw this up and maybe he can find the picture. But essentially, when you're a coach, 100% of your effort goes to building your business because you don't have a team yet. When you're Emerald, it's still like 98% of your recruiting efforts should be going into building your business because your team is 2 people. Even at Diamond, I think it's something like 95% of your effort should be going into your own personal recruiting behavior, because your team still, in your mind, we make Diamond, like kind of to Holly's point earlier, seem like such a big deal. And while it is, it's still only 12 coaches, 8 personally sponsored by you, 4 personally sponsored by somebody else. So you being in management mode during that time is crazy. Even at 2-star, it's like, anyway, by the time you get up to 15-star, it's still not even 50-50, I don't think. Like, you have to spend you should always be working on your business first. You have to take care of your business in addition to, I think it's something like 60-40, and then you're managing your team. So I always say, I'm not all that special or talented in this business. The only thing that I do is I'm constantly, like, there is never a month I don't hit Success Club or hit Success Club high numbers, or still actively like pushing and building my business, because I'm showing my team what's possible for them. So also when you get into management mode, then you're kind of telling them it's okay for them to drop the ball once they hit certain ranks. So you always have to focus on bringing in new people and recruiting in your business first, and all the while you're still helping with your team. But I think Doug's gonna do a better job showing this now.
Well, and I'll do it in like 2 minutes, but I'm gonna kill one light here that's reflecting. So this comes from Brigitte Linford from back in the day. We had Brigitte do a training where she talked about how she divides her typical day. And she talks about how she divides her day into personally recruiting and then spending time with her team. At the time, she was a 15-star, and she said, I spend 50% of my time on my personal activities and 50% of my time with my team. And so then, you know, that kind of brought up that, man, I'm a superstar diamond doing 50-50. And I would check with other superstars and say, you know, how does your day break down? And they would say generally somewhere in the same area. What happened is I started asking diamonds, you know, where do you spend your time? And it ended up being 20-80. Like they were 20% of their time recruiting, 80% of their time with their team. So really, you know, managing their team and working with their team. And, you know, and again, you know, how much time in a day does a diamond have to build their business? You know, I don't care if it's an hour a day, you can see where, you know, you get out of balance pretty quick. The learning came in when you add coach to the list, right? That I'm trying to figure out, where should a diamond, a 2-star, a 5-star, a 10-star, a 15-star divide their day? Well, if a coach is 100% recruiting because 0% team, they don't have a team, right? So then all I did was say, man, then this just kind of drops down and this one goes up. You can see that directionally as a diamond, you ought to be doing about 90% of your time recruiting, 10% of your time with your team. And now that's really hard, because when you think of a diamond, if I'm only working an hour a day to build this business, that means that your team gets 6 minutes if you were really to try and live by this. And I do think that there's a real lesson in balance and how coaches get out of balance as they're building their businesses. But anyway, there's a longer training that kind of goes with that. But that's what Danielle was talking about.
Thank you. Is there a link to that? Do you guys know where I can find that training?
Listen, message me, and I've got it on a PowerPoint somewhere, and we can set something up.
Awesome. Thanks, Doug.
Yep. Okay, I think we're out of time today. This call is always awesome, and I really do appreciate you guys. I am going to end with the last question. I'm going to throw it to Molly Asplin. And the question is, Molly, what should these coaches go and do today? Like, what should their activities today look like after a call?
Awesome. Well, you guys asked. I have child, so we'll see if she screams. But you guys, you have to know that you're on this call for a reason. So first and foremost, you got to diamond. You got to 1 star. If you got there, that required 1 skill, right? And it required 1 skill of hustle. The only other skill that I believe you need to get to 2 star besides hustle and like just keeping your foot on the gas is inspiration. So you have to be casting the vision, and I don't know what your vision is. That requires plugging into PD like everyone was lit up about earlier. Plug into PD that sets your soul on fire so that you can go inspire not only your team, because they're not really there yet, right? At Diamond, you don't have a huge team, but the people who are watching, because they're watching your energy, they can feel your energy, and if they know where your bus is going, they're gonna wanna get on it. And the more you hustle and the more you shine, they can feel that intangible energy, and it makes them wanna get on it. So cast your vision, your scary, vulnerable vision to social media. Put it in your stories, talk in your stories, show them behind the work, behind the scenes of the work you're doing, and don't take your foot off the gas with your own recruiting. That chart Doug just shared is everything. 90% of the time, your own recruiting, and just see who's getting on the bus with you and see if they run with you. I mean, just the speed of the leader is the speed of the pack. So the more you can bring on, the quicker you're going to get there.
Thank you, Molly. That's perfect. I love your baby on your lap. That just makes it better, I got to tell you. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate you. If I can say anything, you know what? You got to get to 2 star. I mean, I hope you pay attention to what Holly said about getting to 2 star. That really is a sweet spot in the comp plan, and you've got to set a goal to get to that level. Thank you, guys. We will talk to you all soon. Bye.